where did this idea come from, and how much alcohol was involved in this conception?
Yeah, you answered your own question. I mean, I don't know. It was at Bar Talk out of, we were talking at bars in 2018.
Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm talking to Mike Cheslick, the director and co-writer of Hundreds of Beavers, which released on April 15th, 2024. It is a kind of a silent film. It is in black and white, which I'm going to try to use the magic of editing to become black and white. Let's see if it worked. I think it did. I'm going to talk to him right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps out a lot. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm talking to Mike Cheslick, the director and co-writer of Hundreds of Beavers, which is a strange, like, silent film slapstick love letter to just this wonderful, wonderful story. It has hundreds of cute little beavers that are brutally slaughtered. It has this strange style, this like great sense of humor, and just is something you're not really going to see anywhere else. I absolutely loved it. So I am very excited to talk to you, and thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm excited to tell you everything you want to know, all the secrets.
Excellent. I cannot wait. I have some hard-hitting questions here, so we'll see if I can get to the root of it. The first question, and I'm asking this with all the love. Why? Like, where did this come from? Like, what?
Someone had to do it. It had
Yeah.
to be done. Some things are obvious. They obviously had to be done. Slapstick had to be brought back. It's a great American genre and tradition that needed to return and was dormant for no reason.
No, 100%. And what I love about this, I will get movies that say like, oh, they're a slapstick comedy or something like that. They don't really do it right. It's not funny. This one manages to hit it, like the style, the tone, the ridiculousness. It just hits it well. It hits it perfectly. It is actually a funny slapstick movie, which I loved. So I'm glad that you brought this back. Maybe it'll open the floodgates to more movies like this. I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, we just tried to treat slap. We wanted a movie that was all slapstick. We wanted to treat slapstick fans the way that The Raid 2 treats martial arts fans. Just nothing but action.
Slapstick action, figurative action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the good stuff.
And I also, one thing I loved about this movie is like it looks like if you hadn't done it so well, it would just look like a bunch of friends making a movie in their kind of backyard with the props that they had. But you had that like underlying style, but then the effects were great, the like story was great, the kind of the overall look was perfect. So it looks like a well put together film, but at its core, it does feel like you are just like having fun, making like almost a home movie with your friends, just kind of enjoying it.
Good. I'm glad it retained that quality. Yeah, it's a combination of buddies from Wisconsin and a few film professionals. Like Bob Berta, the sound designer, really elevates it and is a pro and the shining star of his generation and in the sound design world. So that's an example of a real adult that was on the project, and then all the beavers were just played by our like goofy drunk friends from Wisconsin.
I mean, you said they're from Wisconsin. I don't think you have to say drunk. I think that's kind of implied, but I'm glad that you specified that as well. So I was gonna ask one thing, but that kind of like leads me right into a different question I was gonna have. One thing I loved is like during some of the fights and the action scenes, like the characters would fall down. And I was curious, like, was that scripted or is that's just happy? You're like, you know what, we'll go with it because it looks good. Because there were a couple scenes where like people like fell down when they were running, or you have a fight and someone would like slip, and I wasn't sure if that was planned or if that was just say, you know what, we'll just go with it. It works perfectly.
There's like two unscripted falls, but mostly it's pretty heavily storyboarded, and all the impacts were planned. And we benefited from the fact that these costumes in the snow are just stupid and clumsy looking, so things don't happen perfectly. There's a little bit of spontaneity to the way a person moves in a mascot costume, but the overall choices of blocking were storyboarded and planned out. So we had spent a lot of time like an animation pipeline boarding out every shot of the movie and then carrying our binder full of storyboards into the woods.
That sounds wonderful. So you actually did. I was curious if you like. It looked like snow in a lot of the scenes, so I wasn't sure if you actually like filmed in snow or if that was just like clever movie magic. Maybe it was a combination of all of it.
Every time a character's touching like white, that's snow. Even though we're blowing it out a lot of times, we did go into the woods and shoot in the snow and then blow out some of the detail so that the location work looks fake, and then try to make the fake stuff look real if I can and have it all meet in the middle. Ryland would be very disappointed sometimes when we would go into the snow on a -10-degree day and he would do a stunt in the snow and then I would like blow out the detail of the whites and he'd just be like, now it looks fake. And it's just, well, that's how silent films looked when you shot in the snow. There wasn't a ton of detail in the snow. So it's a lot of location stuff. Of the 12 weeks of shooting, I think 8 or 9 weeks were winter exteriors.
Wow. And so that makes some of Ryland's stunts and antics even more impressive. Were all of those when he, maybe had less furs than he needed to, were those all in the snow as well?
Yeah, he really did that. He was naked in the -10-degree weather in the snow.
Wow. Yeah. And unfortunately the camera is not kind. He looked great. So, good for him. That is very impressive. That makes it even more impressive, some of those scenes.
Yeah, it was slow going. It was hard work. So it was difficult to shoot the location stuff because it was all in the snow and it went on and on and on. It was difficult to then do the post because it was 1,500 After Effects shots. So like no part of this was easy. Um, even the even the release took a year and a half. It's just that every element of this has been arduous, much like the second act where John Kayak must learn to fur trap. It was a lot of repeating ourselves and rigorous trial and error.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like that was the I describe it as almost like a video game at times. Like that was the kind of video game moment where he has to go and gather the materials, get the supplies, level up. It had a lot of very like video game type aspects to this film. And I was gonna ask, like, was that intentional? Was that just like a fun little coincidence? I assume it was intentional because there were some pretty obvious looking ones, but I don't know. Maybe that's just how you made the film.
I think if you've truly corrupted your mind with video games like I have, it just comes out as you write, and it wasn't even that planned. But I have always felt that the Mario camera is the same as the Buster Keaton camera, very flat proscenium, with no extraneous information outside of the protagonist, small in frame, and their physical obstacle. And then watching this protagonist confront the physical obstacle in a wide, flat frame. Uh, so in that way, I've felt that Mario and Buster Keaton are like one and the same aesthetically, and hopefully this movie has finally proved that little thesis. That was the experiment behind the movie.
Miyamoto, Buster Keaton, and Mike Cheslick all together finally. Uh,
Get
so
my name out of there.
after this movie, you deserve to be in there. So, like, I guess going all the way back to like the starting principles, like, where did this idea come from, and how much alcohol was involved in this conception?
Yeah, you answered your own question. I mean, I don't know. It was at Bar Talk we were talking at bars in 2018, the end of the year when Lake Michigan Monster was done, and this idea arose out of that. And I think it was just based on available resources, Ryland willing to do stunts, me knowing some After Effects, the mascot idea, us liking physical comedy, all our buddies being comfortable with snow. These were just the elements that we could combine that we didn't think any other indie film would combine and just do something that no one else in the market is doing. But God, it was 5 years ago. I barely remember.
And I imagine there have been lots of other drunken planning sessions and filming sessions since then. So yeah, it makes sense that the memories are a bit hazy.
Yeah, this thing just it went on and on. I used to have cool stories from set, but it's all a blur now.
Well, you know what? Save it for the special features when the Blu-ray comes out. Maybe the Blu-ray's already out. I'm not sure, but save it
Absolutely.
for the
Ah,
special.
no, that'll be this summer.
Yeah, so that's like that was one thing that's kind of crazy is that it was 12 weeks of filming, which is, that's it seems like a good amount of time for an indie film. That's a standard shoot. But then 4 years to get it completely done. That is a labor of love.
Yeah, 4 years fundraising, editing, boarding, shooting, all happening simultaneously for 4 years.
That's insane. And how much like I imagine there must have been a ton of planning, right? Because you said you storyboarded everything. You had to make all the costumes, I assume, and have all of that ready. How much like planning did it take to get to the actual shooting of the film and seeing if this would all work?
Well, we shot it in heats, so you shoot the first act without the musical number, without the cabin scenes. You shoot the first act in the first winter, you only have to pre-produce that. Then you get ready for the shoot in the barn where you're going to do the fight in the courtroom, and then you only have to pre-produce that. And you just like any giant task, you just break it down into smaller tasks. And in our case, yeah, we didn't do all the pre-production up front. It was many little shoots that had their own boarding, pre-pro, shoot, post, all separate.
Okay. And it probably helps that you had a lot of friends involved, so you don't have to like deal with actors' schedules and get them all in together. You could like focus on those scenes, and maybe some of the other scenes you can just deal with
Oh,
later.
yeah, the scenes with actors, the cabin scenes, that was only 3 days out of the 12 weeks. The Beavers premise really helps AD a movie or produce a movie where you don't have to get the same people back for every scene. All the Beavers are just randomly played by whoever was available that day, and it makes the entire scheduling process much easier.
That you're hurting me. I thought each beaver had their own unique backstory and their own,
No,
special. No,
it's fake. Movies are fake. Sorry, David.
you're killing my dreams right now.
All
So
your favorite movies are fake.
oh gosh, wow. Except for this one. This one is real. This one is a real movie. Um, so like I imagine there was plenty of movie magic. How many beaver costumes did you actually have? Because hundreds of beavers. There were some scenes where it looked like there were 30 beavers on the screen, but I assume some of that was movie magic, unless you just have this barn full of like dead beaver costumes.
We have that, but we didn't use it for this film. We had 6 beaver costumes for this film. At one point, all 6 appear in the fight scene, but usually you're seeing max 3 because we just don't have that. I mean, look, we've got some buddies that played beavers, but we don't have 6 buddies. That's a level of popularity that we hope to achieve soon, but we're not at during the filming of this. So 3 max, 2 would be a good day, but mostly you just have one animal mascot person who is also the driver and PA and cook.
That's indie filmmaking right there. I love it. Everyone's wearing multiple literal hats in this movie.
Yeah, and then Ryland wears his giant hat when we go to film festivals to get us attention. And I always make the joke that in indie filmmaking, you have to wear a lot of hat.
And yeah, he definitely does. No, I love seeing those behind the scene pictures after because like conceptually, in the movie it looked one way, but then seeing it in color in real life, I'm like, okay, that is like very wonderful looking, and it's perfect that it kind of keeps coming out there.
At TIFF, we ran into Guillermo del Toro, and we were excited to meet him because we love Hellboy 2. Hellboy 2 is a big inspiration on Hundreds of Beavers, and we got a great compliment out of del Toro. He said, "The hat is well built."
That is the best you can hope for. And sometimes in the movie it can be a little bit of nightmare fuel, like Guillermo del Toro has. So there you go.
We
Uh,
should have ripped off del Toro more in Hundreds of Beavers. I mean,
there,
you see, Abe Sapien appears several times in Hundreds of Beavers, and obviously there's the scene with the big baby, the gun. There's a number of scenes with the German gas character. All these things appear in Hundreds of Beavers. I just think there should have been more. We should have had a troll market. We thought the budget would prevent us from including a troll market in Hundreds of Beavers, but maybe, I can go back with do a little Snyder cut that includes the troll market sequence in Hundreds of Beavers. These are just thoughts. What do you think?
well, you have to save something for the sequel, Thousands of Beavers, when you have 6 friends. Like you can't put everything in the first movie. You got to save something for the sequel.
I hope to use some of this newfound power of our small indie success to have 6 friends.
Well, you never know. But you just gotta make sure they're real friends, like real friends that'll drink with you and go roll around in the snow, and not the fake Instagram friends.
I
Uh,
would. This is where you and I disagree. I would like to be surrounded by yes men now that Hundreds of Beavers has trended on Twitter for 5 minutes.
I mean, I don't know if Hundreds of Beavers would come about from Yes Men though. This feels like I feel like Yes Men would be like, I don't know about this movie. But I guess if they're your Yes Men, then they will just support whatever crazy thought you have.
It is funny hearing from people like, "Oh, we want to see the script for the next movie," and it's just like, the thing you like about Hundreds of Beavers is that it was board driven and it took forever, and they're just, I don't know. It's like there was never a script for Hundreds of Beavers. It couldn't have been financed traditionally in Hollywood.
Yeah. No, I was gonna ask like, well, it was all self-funded, but yeah, this doesn't feel like a movie that you could easily get like funding for and studio buy-in, just because it's so out there and it must be tough to pitch. Or like it's a silent throwback film with slapstick comedy about a person that's committing beaver genocide.
Yeah, I don't know how that would have gone. We had a lot of trust from our Wisconsin backers who I really appreciate supporting the film and just totally trusting us the entire time. And we got all the time and space we needed to do this film exactly the way we wanted. And our team trusted us on set, and our backers trusted us from afar to just deliver something entertaining. And they didn't even bat an eyelash, is that the expression?
Yeah, that
At
sounds right.
the premise. They said, "Oh, a slapstick movie with beavers, hilarious, do it." They didn't say what an unusual concept. They all just said, "Oh yeah, cool, like Three Stooges, great." And I don't know, will that level of trust ever come into my life again from the crew and the backers? I hope so, because then we could make more movies like this. It was a pleasure on this project.
For sure. And I'm glad the Wisconsin political pressure didn't force you to add like cheese or something else to it. Like they let your artistic vision shine.
They said, "What is this? You want to make a cheeseless film? All right, your funeral."
Well, that sounds a little bit weird, but it's okay. And one other thing you could do for the sequel, I don't know if Shape of Water, I think that was a movie, came out before this movie was done, but you could have a little bit more kind of like interspecies relationships. That's a Guillermo del Toro callback you could have for the Thousands of Beavers.
Yeah, that is another Abe Sapien classic, Shape of Water. I am surprised we didn't squeeze in a joke of a love between a human and a mascot in this movie. You'd think we would have hit that, but there wasn't time. We only had 2 hours.
Yeah, and John only had eyes for that murdering stripper trapper girl. So,
Yeah, we didn't want to have a low point we didn't want to have any love triangles. We just said they should like each other the whole time. There is no conflict in the love story. There is no love triangle with a sexy beaver. It's just these two people are in love, and their love only escalates, and there's no confusion in the second act low point. They just like each other the whole time, and the only conflict is the dad.
there we go. And please don't Google love triangle with a sexy beaver. That will bring up a lot of results that you don't want in your search history.
Well,
So
done it again, David.
I know we have limited time. I'm going to switch to a lightning round, just lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how
Okay.
your experiences map to things in the movie. Feel free to skip any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable. First question: have you ever drank Applejack?
Yes.
All right. And
Words.
is that part of how this movie came about?
The Applejack happened later.
Okay. Okay. And what is your go-to alcohol?
Gin.
Gin. All right. Classy. I like it. This movie had Ryland surviving in the wild. Have you ever started a fire by rubbing sticks together?
No, a rock has been involved in the past.
Okay. All right. Well, that's still outdoor survival. This film also, I love the kind of the bowling scene where Ryland is like going between traditional bowling and then like, I don't know, two finger angle bowling. How do you bowl?
Just straight down the line. Straight
Yeah.
shooter, David.
All right.
None of this spin business. I don't trust that. If you're trying to do business with somebody and you take them out on a networking meeting and you take them bowling and they're putting spin on the ball, I would not sign with that client.
I know that shows that you can like pivot and that you can like hit them when they're not looking. I don't know. I like the spin, but to the earlier questions, it takes a certain amount of alcohol in my system to get the spin to work, and it's a very fine line. It'll work for a little bit, and then it'll go over the edge, and it'll just be gutter ball every time.
I just think you and I aren't working together. That's what I'm hearing right now.
I thought I could be one of your six friends. I was hoping. I'll be a yes man,
Well, all
sure.
right, you talk me
All
into it.
right.
All right.
How long do you think that you could survive in the woods?
Oh, upwards of 5, 6 hours.
Just basically as long as your cell phone has power, and then once that dies, you're just like, well, everything is dead to me now.
Yeah, and then I have a book.
Oh wow. Oh, like a book on your Kindle, right?
No, no, I own a book.
Wow. Huh. I mean, I
So
guess that makes sense. Throwback movie, silent film, you're gonna have all these like antique items with you. So
I have all these
that makes
antique items like books and a Yahoo email account.
a Yahoo. Oh, oh, there. I don't know if we can be friends if you have a Yahoo email account. Uh,
On the cards for us, David. All right.
have you ever trapped an animal?
No, I have not.
All right. All right. Like not even with like a live capture trap, like a pest or something like that?
Oh yeah. No, because I moved from Wisconsin. I've moved from the Midwest when I was 18. And even though all these movies are shot in Wisconsin, I now live in LA. And all the movies, like the movies funded and shot in Wisconsin with Wisconsin people, but I live in LA where there's like no bugs or pests in our building at least. So I haven't had to set traps here.
That's yeah, no insect pests in your building. But yeah, no, that's great. That's great news. You live a charmed life.
I do.
Um,
I do.
do-
Life is good.
so last question. I don't kick shame on this channel, but all the outfits kind of beg the question, are you a furry? This is a safe space. You can say yes or no.
I am not, but feelings are starting to grow within me that I didn't expect spending 5 years with these guys.
Well, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Explore that in the sequel, Thousands of Beavers. But before that comes out, before the inevitable sequel comes out, you can check out Hundreds of Beavers. It is released on April 15th, 2024, and it's kind of coming to on-demand platforms as well. Just make sure to check it out. It is a unique film. It is very funny. You're not going to see anything like this anywhere else. So definitely check it out. This is the co-writer and director, Mike Cheslick. Thank you so much for your time.
Cool. Thanks, David.
That was Mike Cheslick, the director and co-writer of Hundreds of Beavers, which was released on April 15th, 2024. It is a strange, silent movie, old film callback that just has this wonderful style, this slapstick sense of humor, and Hundreds of Beavers. What's not to like? If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.